Over the past few months, there have been several attempts to design prisons that mirror that of the Dream SMP prison, Pandora's Box. There was Poseidon's Vault, Ray's Works Armor Stand Prison, Bedrock Boxes, My Two Prisons. All of these are wonderful prisons, but all of them have flaws, so which one of them is the best? Today I'm going to be reviewing every one of these prisons to figure out which one is the most ideal. We will be assessing the 6 prisons, which I previously mentioned. We are going to be judging them by whether or not they can be escaped from the inside, whether or not players can break them out from the outside, whether or not they can be escaped using stasis chambers, how simple or easy to hide they are, if they're visitable by other players, and finally, if they're item-proof, meaning players with items are unable to break out. So together, let's figure out which one of these prisons gets the highest rating, and, maybe which one gets the lowest. Hey, before I start this video, give me 5 seconds to say I'd love to get 10,000 subscribers before the end of April. So if you like to help out small creators, it would mean so much to me if you subscribed. Anyway, enjoy. Let's start with Pandora's Box, the Dream SMP prison. Is it escapable? Obviously. And along with that, obviously, it can be broken into from the outside, so we'll give it a red marking there too. Is it stasis pearl proof? Yes. Is it simple? I don't think it needs to be said. Is it visitable? Yes. And that is one of the strongest points that the Dream SMP prison has. If you want a very roleplay friendly prison, Pandora's Box is perfect. It is, however, unfortunately not item proof, as players with items can break out very easily. Now we've got my first prison. Do you remember that way back in February? So far, I don't think anyone has found a way to break out of it, so I'm going to give it a green. Can you break in from the outside? Why, of course. Is it stasis proof? Just like Pandora's Box, before you put them in the prison, you will kill your prisoner, so therefore it is stasis proof. Is it simple? Well, it uses a lot of pistons, but compared to some of the other prisons on this list, it is simple. So we'll give it a yellow rating. Is it visitable? Admittedly, not really. There's no way to get in. And again, like most prisons on this list, if the player you're trapping has items, they can break out easily. Now, let's look at my third design. I'm not going to go for my second, because the third design is basically the second modified. Can it be escaped from the inside? No. Can it be broken into from the outside? Definitely. It's actually the simplest prison on this list so far. I added the piston extension so that it could be visitable, so we'll give it a green for visitable, but a player with items can break out easily, so we'll give it a red there. Now, the famous Poseidon's Vault, it's like 4 or 5 million views now, totally not jealous. Can it be broken out of from the inside? The answer is yes. It will take a long time, and it does fulfill its purpose in stopping a player from trying, but it is technically escapable, given time. So, sorry Poseidon's Vault, but you get a red. Now obviously, like everything else, players can break in from the outside, so still a straight line of reds here. Fortunately, it is stasis chamber proof. I don't know if you've seen the design or not, but it's not very simple. It is visitable on the other hand, I'm pretty sure. I didn't look into the whole video, but we'll give it a green for visitable. And once again, a player using items can break out. Now, looking at the list so far, not to hate on Poseidon's Vault, but realize that it has the exact same rating as Pandora's Box. Now, Ray's Works Prison. Is it escapable from the inside? Actually, yes, it can be broken out of, as Ray's Works does explain. Along with auto-clicking, you can just break the armor stands in his prison until they all go away. You can't have an infinite number of armor stands. Like always, are we surprised? But it can be broken out of from the outside. Look at this straight line of reds. In terms of being stasis chamber proof, meaning that you can't escape using pearls, we'll give it a yellow because it can be modified to be stasis chamber proof, despite the fact that the original design does not use a bed. We'll give it another yellow for being simple-ish. It's about as simple as my first design. There's a lot of redstone going on, but it's relatively small. Sadly, the thing cannot be visited by other players, and now Ray's Works Prison isn't doing very well in terms of stats, but it makes up for itself at the very end by having a very special property. Ray's Works Prison is the only one of its kind to be able to keep players in even if they have items, which I think is very clever. You've got to give it to him for stopping players with any gear that they want from breaking out. Finally, we have a Bedrock Box, which people love to joke about as being the most secure prison. At the bottom of a Minecraft world, it's always possible to find some unique terrain that's at just the right position that you can trap a player inside it. So, is it escapable from the inside? No! Finally, someone besides me got a green here. As per usual, people can break this player out. The design can use a bed, so it is stasis chamber proof. The design is very simple, definitely the simplest on the list. It can be visited, but obviously it's not item proof. Interestingly, and I just noticed this, but the Bedrock Box has the same stats as my second prison. So there you have it. Here are all the stats. Every horizontal row is a specific prison's statistics. So, you can see the two clear winners here are the Bedrock Box and my final prison, for scoring 4 points out of 6 each. Because of that, you're going to have to pick and choose between the two. The downside to the Bedrock Box is it's very cramped, and you've got to find a specific place in the ground to build it. As for the worst prison, according to the points we have here, that would actually be Ray's Works prison. But I think being item proof deserves some extra points. Call me a stan, but we'll count this as 3 points. Bumping up Ray's Works score, that brings the new title for worst prison to another tie between Pandora's box and Poseidon's vault. So, sorry. So, sorry Poseidon's vault stands, the math doesn't lie. One other thing I'd like to point out is the second column, which is straight red. Realize that every single one of these prisons can be broken into. It's impossible to build an indestructible prison, as I've discussed in my indestructible vault video. You know, at least as far as we know. So this concludes my assessment of every prison I've seen so far. Over the next few weeks, if some new designs get popularized, I might add them to this list and assess them too. But that's all, see ya.